Okay, thank you everyone. It's a really pleasure to share this presentation, which is part of very much the story of my last 35 years. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Okay.
And then here.
Oh, yeah, those on the side.
There you
Okay,
go.
thank you. Okay, the GreenBroker Network. First of all, you will find out why is this GreenBroker. But I want to talk to you about this history of more than 25 years working in these communities in Honduras and the Bradley Forest. And it goes back to the starting of this project called Greenwood. And was a project trying to help people to that were already working on the forest, community forestry, to teaching how to make these chairs. And then we came out to this project because the project ended, but the people keep selling chairs and making furniture. So we say this is really something interesting because most of the projects we have participated, they have the value chain, they have the management of the forest, they train people to make things like furniture or any other kind of products. But it was like kind of very strange that this also in the marketing and the point that people was still working on that. But then after the people start like selling those shares, the project couldn't continue and we didn't know whether they were getting real legal wood. So that's why we came here and then start like finding out what the people was getting the wood. So then we start working with Greenwood here in the United States, and we realized it was like something easier for us, always thinking on all this paperwork transaction for the value change, to work with an organization founded in Honduras, and that's why we start Fundación Madera Verde, which about the story of what the GreenBroker, I think is valuable to share it because it was recognized by this organization. So I think it has something good to share. So anything that is, I pointed the addresses there so you can find out. It was in 2014. Okay, so the objectives of this presentation is a lot of things to try to put in this hour or less, but I will focus on to share with you the experience and what it is about the GreenBroker, what are the main results and the lessons that we have learned in this trajectory. Just to give a little bit of background, this happened in Honduras, and some of you may know already, or hopefully you have been there. And this is a country, a small country in Central America, with a population more like a little bit more than 10 million people. We speak Spanish. And then we have the situation of the forestry, of the forests there. And pretty much deforestation is going like, oops, I can see that. But it's going to 23,000 hectares per year. That's pretty much the rate. And most of those, the forested area goes to the broadleaf forest, as you can see here. And most of the area that is being deforested is here where we work, this corridor. So it's Olancho, Colon, and here you have the biosphere, Rio Plátano, which is the mosquito people lives, and that's very famous for some of you. And what about the forest? Okay, Honduras is covered most of the half of territory by forests, and those it's very important to recognize there are two kinds of ecosystem: the broadleaf forest and the coniferous forest. And why it is important? It's not only biological differences, but also because most of what is happening here is the industries, the private industry are the one who works here and plug the forest because it is easier to get into the forest. And most of the people, the communities work in the broadleaf forest, which is the most biodiverse. And it's very difficult, as you can see. There is a lot of mountains, so the only way you can get log in there is by artisanal means with mules and no machinery at all. So another thing is good to understand before we start talking about the GreenBroker itself is how is the land tenure distributed. So it's a public, three kinds of land tenure: public, private, and there is this governmental, which is pretty much assigned by to communities, and also the public land, which is assigned to communities and municipalities. And that's the area where we used to work in bicycle. Okay, so with this context, I will like to try this because of being legal and how we find out working with these communities and why. And so in order for you, if you want to go to Honduras and log some wood, there is this Institute for Forest Conservation. That's the National Forestry Authority. And you can go for management contracts or for communal forest management contracts, which are pretty much in the system of forestry social system. So this is communities organized, and there is this small committee within each community that is given the right to log. The rights to protect or to manage the forest are for the community, but it's only one organization within the community who actually does all the activities. Is given the right by the community. So the harvesting. Okay, the harvesting of the forest actually can be commercial, not commercial. By the law, it is always stated there. And the commercial or not commercial is always something that has to go through all this paperwork that I'm going to show you. Okay. So you can see how many papers do you have to do. And every of those, most of the time, get someone who knows about a technician, sometimes a lawyer. So it's 17 papers, 70. So the transactional costs of logging are really something that for communities is a burden for communities. What about trade? Also, for trading, we have a national market, which is pretty much coniferous forest. Broadleaf forest is less. Most of the broadleaf forest, the wood and hardwood that come from broadleaf forest is sent to international markets. And I would say that is the value added to all of the either plant coniferous or broadleaf is missing. It's pretty much timber. Okay. Okay. We also have plantations. Let me just move this one. Okay. Plantations to the international market, but yeah, thank you. Okay. So even the plantation, even you plant the trees and you grow the trees, you also have to get permissions. And if it's a mahogany or cedar, you have to go through all these CITES. For these species are in the appendix. I don't know if you are related to CITES. It's the International Agreement for Endangered Species. And okay, now it doesn't go.
With the mouse.
Okay.
In the screen.
Okay.
Just anywhere.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for trading and transport, you have to do all other papers still. So you can log for yourself, you can make your furniture, but if you want to transport that wood, you have to get another. And if you want to export, it is even more. So most of the transportation, and this is very important paper, most of the illegality happens in this. Who has this already? With this has been like a lot of illegal logging happen. It doesn't have to be illegally because this legalize your wood, but you don't know exactly whether it really is legal or illegal. So it has to go through many what we call postas policiales, which is these kioscos where the police really check your wood. The main species harvested so far, this is data for 2019, is the pinus, as I said, the cedrela and the suetenia, which is the most of the time the macrophylla. Okay, yeah, thank you. And yeah, to export is another paper. So the transaction goes and goes. And there is also, if it is mahogany or cedrela, you have another extra. You have to do this mandatory compulsory chain of custody, which make you check every piece of the lumber. So no wonder why people decide to go illegally, but I'm not saying that is an excuse. I'm just saying that it happens a lot, like because most of the communities are not the ones that actually invest on this illegality because it's also an investment, but also, but I'm saying that they sell this good to these intermediates or traders who are working illegally. So most of the people, when we found the community, that was what happening. Illegality everywhere, especially in that area. And illegality in Honduras has been a long history. And it has been like documented by many. And lately, this is a article from the Kendra McSweeney, and she related to she matched the areas of deforestation with the narco activity. So this is something you can find these papers. And so how we get there? Well, as you say, the shares were the products that we were selling as a project, but then we were invited to go there at these communities, actually about 3 communities, and they want us to teach them how to make the chairs to sell. And then we saw that they were like living in the mahogany paradise because all the houses were the roof were mahogany. And we, as foresters, we know how this wood is so valuable. And we say, if you are like sitting on the mine of mahogany, if you make chairs. Sorry. No, it's okay. Making chairs won't really like, they won't be able to sell because the transportation of the chair when they made it, no one will pay the price of legality. So we were trying to, we didn't want to induct the people to do what they wanted to do chairs. We knew that chairs were not exactly what they could make. They could make it, but they were not won't be able to sell. Thank you. To sell those chairs and even making money out of this. So that's when we start the GreenBroker. We say, okay, there is mahogany here. So we start talking to the communities, to the leaders, and we say, there is an opportunity for you to sell mahogany, but there is a lot of things. We have to find market, but you can still get a lot of good payment, good price. So you are already organized. They were already with this management area. And so we start looking these niche markets. So we found out the musical instrument industry is the one who pays the mahogany, the best price. So that's why we start like making these negotiations and these on trials. And so that went back to 2000, something like. So when we explain the GreenBroker, is sometimes the connotation on a broker is always something negative, something bad. But in this case, and I put those the situation of legality, the cost of transactional, all the paperwork is something the communities really can handle. Not only because they are not able to pay the services, but also because they need a lot of lobbying. I mean, the way we do it is, as with the years, we have been like keeping data, doing research, and trade that. I would say trade with the service, the forest service, all that information. So they know if they stop that, they sometimes they are asked for that information and they don't have it. Some point we have it ready, and that's what we are always helping. So it's a lot of relation going on. So how the GreenBroker works? Okay, there is a value change. We have the cooperatives producing the wood. We have our organization, Madera Verde, down the ground, working with the communities. We have Greenwood, looking for markets and making the deals with the markets. And we have clients. The main, so far for this community is Taylor. And but with the years, we get another like 3 or 2 more industries you can buy. Okay, how does the GreenBroker Network work? Okay, this is the way we have been trying to be sustainable until this point. We have is a combination of non-profit activities, which we pretty much pay with the international cooperation funding. We are always like writing proposals, getting funds. And the for-profit, these are like agreements we do with the communities. And you will see later for all this, because this is understood as a business. So all this comes from the sales of the wood. All this has to pay, even if we get here in this some project that can pay some of this, we always put aside the money on the accounts. So they have the money there for next, because we explain, we never know we are going to have for the next sales order or the next management plan, that money ready. So how we do that? Okay, so this is pretty much how we do it. We have the forest management, like as forester, that's the principal thing for us, because this area, as I told you, it was deforestation going on always. People was so embedded in illegality, and these same people is the one who organized and now is working legally. So the other part we do is the production and training. And you will see in the case of a study, I'm going to present how we do that, and the marketing and sales. So pretty much that's the three components. It's a lot of activities. So when I say forest management, is primary natural forests, but also we have secondary forest management with pretty much with communities on this indigenous area of Carbon and Molancho. And they have also working on non-timber forest product. This is the bark of a tree. They use it for waving chairs, waving hammocks, and several artificial products. We also work with the enrichment of planting, mixed species, and work with the families. Most these days with the restoration projects. And about the woodworking, well, we use whatever is there, because one of the things we know is if we bring machinery, they won't, if they broke, if they break, most of the time what we have seen, everything is stopped because no one is able to fix the machines. So we work with whatever they have on handy. So this is pretty much when they don't have electricity. When they do have electricity, we start working with these portable sound mills. But this one, as you can see, they don't need electricity. So that's when we start. And then the markets, you can find local markets, whatever is able, we can be able to sell. That's pretty much in the local markets. And you can recognize there is wicker fiber. And also this is the bark that you saw the picture before. They use it to weigh. And we also get international markets, like the fingerboard for the necks, for tailor. We also get the now sending it ukulele parts. And we are trying right now with these fire starters, where is to, you go to the forest to do camping. And we also keep the chair line. Okay, and this is the new product. We have been working last year with the artisans and this company called Lee Valley in Canada. We're trying to get, the thing here is we have to look for a special kind of species that are really, really dense species. So it's because they use it to sculpture. These are mallets for the sculpting of, so you have to train the people how to do the whole thing. Okay, if I go too fast, because it's plenty here. Okay, I'm going to talk to narrow the scope of the presentation. In this case of the study is the guitar part production in this community is in the frontier of this biosphere called Rio Plátano in Colón. Okay, this context is this is a population, small 75 families, and that management area they were given through this user group right or management contract is a little bit more of 4,000 hectares. And they start being certified by FSC. Actually, they were the first ones in Honduras to be certified. But then they realized they don't need it because there was no client to pay the certification. So they just give up with the certification. Okay, this is what we found when we got there. That was the road to go there. So there was actually, we were trying to find way how to get the wood out of there. So the way they did, because they were really, really big trees. And so we started working with the management plan and trying to find out how we are going to actually get the wood out of the. And so then you have a harvesting plant, all these phases people participate in the inventories and the marking of the trees. And you can see all the techniques that are required by the international, by the forestry authority. We also teach them how to log with low intensity logging. And this is pretty much what the actual plan of 1 year. The harvest area was 23 hectares. There was 21 mahogany trees. This is more or less 1 tree per hectare. So that the first harvesting plan was 8 trees harvest. And so we were trying to get as much as we can of wood to sell for that very first 8 tree. The current cycle, as established in the law, is 40 years, and the minimum cutting diameter is 80 centimeters. I don't want to go to because it's very technical for those who are. So the other thing that we were trying to teach them, or they had to learn by then, was this kind of high efficiency, low impact harvest techniques. And most of the time, this one was some years, as you can see before, it was forbidden to use the chainsaws. So to get a more efficiency, we use this technique with this frame. It was something they had to. We were trying to do trials, different trials with different kind of frames. This was one of the. And as you can see, going back to the roads, there was no road, so most of the time they use the rivers to get the logs out. But then we find that most of the logs, there has to be at least 4 people going with the logs because they break because of the river sometimes gets really rough, and also there are people in the way waiting for this log. Yeah, and so it was better as much as we can get it out with the animals. It was easier, but sometimes was not possible. So what we find out is we better like sawmill, get the sawmill there, but that's another challenge. And then we put it there, but we get 3 of this, and we actually got an agreement with the company who sell directly the sawmills, and we got like pretty much at cost, the price. But then when they get into Honduras, the government said no, they have to pay the same taxes as if they were a private company. So it wasn't worth. We had like 6 months dealing, trying to negotiate with the company, and actually it didn't really pay. Okay, so that was another thing, to teach people how to get as much as they can out of each log, so they don't have to harvest that many trees. So, and most of them are not even finished school. So the way you have to teach them is to find ways how they understand why you have to do it that way. Because most of them, they were used to log with this how. And some of them were reluctant to learn because they said, nah, that's too much work. Because they haven't really feel like that really pays money. So once they start like getting the money in the bank account, they say, well, because we went from at the very first year, we sell $5 each. How do you say $5?
Board foot.
Yeah, board foot in California. And then we get through the years up to $18 as they start like learning how to do the quarter sound. And so they start resawing guitar parts in a portable sawmill. Now there is in the community. And then we get also to track the timber, because now we don't have certification, but we need to prove that our wood was legal, or their wood. Actually, it was us because we are partners. And we got a lot of help from the U.S. Forest Service in a project with through the company, through Taylor. There was an agreement to try this. We put this to each, as you can see. And then you have to do all this. We had to train them how to use this tool. And sometimes it was tough because most of them, they like the devices for, you can use it at home. And being there without no connection, no internet. So that was something we had to be very careful to who to give the phones, or actually the devices. So tracking legality is for this wood, because it's mahogany, it pays to do it like each board. But some of the woods, you won't be able to do it because it's not so costly. So people start learning everything as the way. Actually, we got this infographic from these three Forest Legacy Alliance, the USAID, and the World Resources Institute. And they went with EIA to do this research of how is happening all this. And so this is the infographic showing how the wood was from the very, with the tax to the guitar part. And actually the idea was to put the history in each guitar, but then because of all the time that happened and all the many problems, we couldn't finish the project as was planned, because the wood that was getting into the company was just like 25% of the total production. So the company say it's not possible just to choose some guitars where that wood is coming from, because most of them are from other sides. So it was a logistical problem. So after 15 years, we get a recognition from this community coven from FAO as one of the best communities that do the model forest management. So that's for a Latin American. And there is a lot of also there is cases you can find like documented on these different books if you want to like learn a little bit more about how the GreenBroker works. There is in Spanish for those who. And there are some students also from this CAPIE. One of the students just finished his master thesis, and he's now the director of Madera. And that's something also lesson learned. You have to hand it off because you are not going to be able to find that. So, but we are really glad that this new generation is taking the challenge. Okay, the learning lessons. Oh, okay. Yeah, we know we want to conserve, we are foresters, we know the forest is the most important part for us, but everything has to be in a balance. So the environmental side, the social, and the economic, and this is what this counts. The money counts for everything. So for this time, for this especially, the people from all the revenues from the sale of the mahogany was able to not only manage the forest, but they also had this watershed project. It was micro hydroelectric turbine that can produce electricity for each house of the community. So that's something. Now they are not in the logging work, but now they are thinking to sell water out of that watershed. So, and I'm going to tell you why they decide not to keep going with the logging activity. Okay, this is pretty much the revenues coming from, not only from Copen, but from because after Copen, we have like 3 more communities, logging mahogany and exporting mahogany. So that's pretty much from these 3 cooperatives that year. And this year you can see there was no production, but it recovered in this because this year the paperwork went so slow that we couldn't get one container in 1 year until the next one. So that's the way it goes, because once you have the papers approved, the weather doesn't allow you to keep going with the logging because it's too rainy. So you cannot really continue. Okay. Okay, about the lesson learned, one of the things is we work all the time with the communities in agreements, and we explain everything. We say, this is a business, we are not giving away anything, and whatever you invest, we are investing together. The other thing is, we give them the choice, like they have a guarantee price at national level, they can sell in the market in the national level, but then if they want to go to the exportation, we offer another price and we say, you want to go to, but you have to compromise with another agreement. And they decide whether they want to just get the money right away with the national market, or they want to wait until we get the good up to California or another, we send it also to Spain sometimes, and wait for the money. And some of them wait because they are not fully like into the business of this logging, because they are investing in many other things, they can wait. But some other they say, no, I just need the money and I want it now. So we let them go wherever they want to. So it's their money, it's their wood. So, but we always explained it. And it's not only for the mahogany, it's also for furniture or whatever, any other products. We always give the people the chance to decide whether they want to invest or they don't want to keep going, just want to sell easily. And the other big, as I was saying, is we are partners, even though we are really like brokering for them, but they know all the information. They know the specifics of every order sale. They know how much the last consumer is paying, and they have all the information. We share it with them. And these are one of the leaders of the communities sharing the information in his community. So you can see there is another detail. Yeah, here. This is for Copen, one of these 5 years. This is how they distribute the community profits for the guitar parcels. And as you can see, there is always money left for forest protection, forest management, for equipment, the physical infrastructure, sorry. And this is very important because they don't have, at this point, they didn't have any accident insurance. But this is forestry, is an activity very dangerous, very risky. So we say you cannot go to the forest. And as you can see, many of them don't like to use the equipment, and it's a very dangerous activity. So what we do is we pay by at least for a year for the time they are harvesting, and if they don't harvest 1 year, they don't pay the insurance. So that's what we found. We couldn't arrange with them that. And also there was forest certification by them still, and communication, which was very expensive because by then we didn't have any kind of communication. Okay, the other lesson learned is we also are diversifying products. We are not only wood, we are looking for, with the communities, they are always, all the time, most of the time they are agricultors, farmers. So we are looking for another markets. And this time we are working with these restoration projects and trying to, so far we have planted 10 hectares with these same communities. We are looking for markets for them, and together we can find someone who can really like appreciate that value. And the other lesson learned is very important. It is not only about wood, as I said, is to work with the locals. And when I say not only the people, but this is a group, we call it Mother Forest. It groups all the people, the communities, but also we work with the National Authority of Forestry, which is, we say sometimes ill needed, even though you don't like all the things that they do, but you have to go with them. And this is the local government, the municipality. And this is pretty much, as we are a small organization, we don't have that many people, but there's a lot of students who work with us, who work with all the activities, and we got a very good relationship with forestry school at the university college. And actually one of my really best friends is the director now. She was in the Katia too, is Lily. And the other very important thing is you respect and you engage with what is going on already. Yeah, they have this plan, and this group here is the one who actually discuss these plans. And so we go along with them. We don't mean to be disturbing what they already have planned. They have the agenda for the territory. And I think one of the characteristics of this territory, because it's so marginalized, because it's so like no roads, they get along because this is the way to go. It's not other way. Or they get along or they don't go anywhere. So this is something very positive. They are meant to work, and somehow it has worked very well for them. So we cultivate that, and we not only do brokering, we also are researching. We are always trying to, not really much time for it, but as much as we can, everything we need to, because there was a lot of problem with this. We start looking, one of the students for the Toronto University, he started working with this. And also he, in doing this, he was also discovered a new species of this wicker. Yeah, this is Mimbre, which is a monstera, and that why is called Madera Verde, because it was no species for discovered before. And so another thing we do is advocacy, not because we like it, because we have to. Yeah, we have to. There's no other way. As you can see, being legal is really costly, and there is no. As you can see at the very beginning, I say anyone who wants to log either industry, people with can invest with money, or community, they go the same way. So through this partnership, we were like trying to participate so people can get safe work, and people can get a differentiation and the way they can do business. So we were trying to help with all the experience that we have about like traceability, and so we're trying to add to this system, which is part of the FLEXI. The FLEXI is a bilateral agreement with the European Union for those countries who want to contribute to stop the illegality of logging. So Honduras is one of the first ones to sign on the whole continent. Guyana is the other one. And we have been working for 7 years with FLEX. We are trying to get the hope that it's going to work, but as far as it goes, now we are constructing this system of legality to ensure legality in the way we see legality can be ensured is only tracking the wood, especially mahogany, because there is a lot of ways they will always find to legalize what is not legal. So get the papers is in a corrupted system is really easy. Communities don't have that capacity. Okay, so the other lesson is, yeah, real development takes time. As you can see, was after 10 years, we really were able to start like seeing income, seeing revenue, and seeing projects, social projects coming from the revenues of the mahogany. So yeah, I'm working with these communities that are really, really marginalized. So it takes time. And I'm gonna get there. There are many other things that I was trying to point out, but as much as for this experience of green brokering, I think that the main thing I want to conclude or for you to take away is brokering is not always flat. It's something that I had seen and 14 in Honduras. We have been even criticized because they say, no, you cannot charge people for what you are doing but we not always are getting subsidized, not from the government, and paying someone for getting funds, for writing proposals to get funding is also someone has to be paid. So communities understand they are in the business. Even if they were not with us, they will have to pay those services. So the way we work is no giving away. And one time this time we were like
we have to say no to a project because they say you cannot charge people. When you say we are not charging people, but this is people we know for years, and we know you give away things, then we lose the whole process back. So we say, no, we don't want your money, you can go. So sometimes you have to do that. So I'm gonna get up to this, and if you have questions, I'm glad to. I don't know.